music like way down. You want to talk about your honorable mentions?
Yeah, why not?
I want to talk about the dishonorable ones.
Oh, you want to talk about the worst?
I think I know which one you're taking issue with on
Okay.
Trudies, by the way.
You have, here you go. You have 1 minute to come up with your worst card of this set. We'll call it a set because it basically was a set.
Yeah.
So your worst card. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
You have a minute. So think about it.
I
I'm actually gonna have to go. All right, go ahead.
all of the visions.
Now you gotta pick one. You gotta pick one.
Oh man, okay.
Which flavor of Armanzula am I gonna pick?
No, Arnim is all right. He's fine.
Nah, get out. That's not true.
He's not top 5 worthy, but he's
Yeah,
fine.
you don't run him in there, but you could play him. He's playable.
Yeah, he's playable.
I'm gonna flip through real quick, and I'm gonna try to figure out mine.
I know which one I'm picking.
Conor Lorraine.
Ooh, that one right there
This
is.
beginnings.
Oh yeah, that is pretty terrible.
Oh my gosh, yes! I don't even need to look anymore. You're totally right. That card is like literally the worst.
Which
I
one?
mean,
Hulk Explosive Beginnings.
Oh my god, yeah.
The 5-drop that nukes himself. He's a 1/5. The 5-drop
Basically, any of the
1/5.
Hulks ever in the game for the most part, except for very
Get-
early.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, you're crazy.
Those Guardians ones are good.
You have.
I don't.
You can't talk down like that about Hulk if you've played that early stuff. He demands too much respect.
I'm gonna say Wasp is the worst card.
the thing with Hulk though is that he's got not only terrible stats, but he's got the worst Hulk die they made. The Age of Ultron one is also why it bugs me.
Yeah, it's like got rid of really high fielding costs with the kind of wonky stats.
Exactly.
That one's pretty trashy.
What about the 7-cost Dormammu? That's pretty bad. From here to
That's the one
Eternity.
that's the one that I was gonna say until I remembered that Hulk existed.
Yeah.
And the art on it looks terrible.
At least that
It
card.
really
like,
does.
is that when fielded Hulk or when he attacks?
The Hulk is whenever he blocks or is blocked by a non-villain.
Yeah.
He gets
Okay.
-3 attack.
So if he's
At least,
not
I guess.
punching
Oh,
up
I
on
mean-
villains, it's pretty trashy.
Yeah. But then that Dormammu hurts you. Like,
Yeah, the Dormammu's just as terrible. And you're
it hurts your opponent a little bit.
maybe I'll go with Dormammu. I changed my mind. I'm picking the Dormammu as the worst card because you have to pay 7 to hurt yourself, and well, no, I guess is a 7/7 better than a 1/5 for cheaper?
And if you build around it, it's not gonna be that awful, but it's still gonna be bad. But Hulk is just bad all
Is
the
it?
time.
I mean, is it? It's gonna be pretty bad.
Yeah.
Maybe we should just do a little quick message in the chat to let Truby and Zach know we're waiting for them.
Feel free. Everybody in the YouTube chat, chime in with your worst card of the set. Michael, what's your worst card of the set? Michael, pick. What's your worst card of the set right now? No thinking.
Do it.
Do it right now. We have to wait because there's a pause between when I say something and obviously when they get it, so. Wow, that was a wistful sigh.
Oh, just okay. Okay. Zach says coming along. No, he's coming. He's coming. He's on
My
his way.
phone's blowing up now.
Oh no.
It just caught up with all of the all of the messages. Hey, you guys, so what are we going to do on Wednesday? You going to go out and buy it and then crack it open and play, or what are you going to do?
Okay.
Yeah.
What's up, Sticky Bandito?
Laurie has the most regular group, so I think he should answer.
Michael picks
Yeah.
Dormammu.
I just hope that we get it on time
Mm.
because we have had times where we get it the day late. But if we do get it on the Wednesday sharp, I'm coming home. I'm sleeving all that stuff, and on Thursday I'm going to make a little brew. Maybe a flip. That would be fun.
Some flip team?
Hmm.
Yeah, I thought about that too, and then I realized the only ways you flip cards are by those conditions or like
The bat signal makes
flipping
it so
or
easy.
bat
Come on.
signal.
Yeah. Bad
Yeah,
signals.
but Bat Signal doesn't work on villain side teams, like because you can't actually play it after you've used it, and so you can't cycle it. so you're stuck. So like,
Yeah, but most of the non-villain sides
are the ones that you want to flip from
Yeah.
and to go to the other one, sure. But then once you've flipped, you know, like there's weirdness and awkwardness, and I don't want to go immediately in and just mess around with that as much as I did when I first saw it.
The what is it? The Atlas that must attack is pretty bad.
You want to push a 2/3 for what 5? I think you had to pay for it.
5.
Push that 2/3. Yeah, come on, cycle it, let it go back through the bag. You can field it
I
again.
guess
Have
the only
fun.
must attack on is 388.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
No, it
yeah.
is forced. Yeah, that's right. It's forced on the 388 side. So you're sitting there with a 2/3 that you've got to force to spin up. Otherwise, you've paid 5 for a 2/3 though. Still pretty gross. Drafting the team packs. Ooh, I want to do that. That's
Yep.
a good comment, Sticky Bandito. I would draft the team. I draft it all, honestly. I love drafting in this game.
I like drafting too, but one of our players has a bit of a harder time with it, so we can't do it quite as much.
In what way?
That's what we do.
Harder time.
Okay, he's
Starting in
quarter
2
blind.
minutes. He's what?
He's quarter blind.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so
I guess if you learn the cards beforehand, you can kind of figure it out.
oh my gosh, he'd have to memorize a lot
All
of
the
cards.
cards in the whole
Well,
set.
there's less cards now. Less cards in a set now, right?
Only if they had like a blind assistance for cards, like you just had the number and he could. Does he know Braille?
There's no Braille in Dice Masters though.
Yeah,
know,
you
but
wouldn't. That wouldn't
It would
work,
mess
would
up
it?
the pace for it would mess up the pace.
You can
And he's
put-
not like anyway. Oh, I see we have a Truby that managed to kick out his guests.
Boom, he's
Yes,
coming
yes.
in.
Sorry, fashionably late.
That's okay. We waited. We waited with
Yeah.
bated breath. With bated breath. Why can't I
And
speak?
you're not the last one. You're
Yeah.
not the
Oh,
last
good.
one. We're still missing Zach.
We may just kick off and Zach can catch up with us. We may do that. Since it is
Okay.
now 9:06. We'll give him one more minute. He has 60 seconds and then we're going to kick things off.
Okay,
Then we're
I'll
gonna
tell
be
him.
done.
All right, I'll let him know.
I think this meteorite is pretty bad. Precious minerals.
Oh,
There
never
he is.
mind. Yay. Oh,
Hey, hey.
so maybe Erica?
That's him.
Sorry.
Or maybe it could be Erica. I don't know.
You never know.
All right, that means we're all together, right?
The gang's all here.
Okay, we're going to kick this off. You ready?
Yeah, I'm just trying to bring up the spreadsheet.
Well, you
Remember,
do
so I
you.
can remember what I chose. Yeah.
Good, because I'm gonna, as you talk, I'm gonna change to whatever you're doing. Here we go.
Okay.
What's up, everybody? How's it going? We got some people hanging out with us today. We are going to have a nice, fun community stream, and we are going to talk about our top 5 picks, our top 5 cards that we're most excited to have and mess with from these new Avengers products. And we are only including the Avengers products. The team pack, the Harley Quinn team pack, is not part of our rankings. We have separate ideas about those cards, and they may actually slot in some way, shape, form, or fashion within these top 5s ourselves. But we didn't include that. These are just the Avengers products that are that we're going to talk about. So before we do that, though, let's talk about who we got on stream with us. Let me introduce each of them in order. First things first, first person up, we've got Laurier from DM North. What's up, Laurier?
Hey there. Doing all right.
Nice.
Forward to some interesting rankings.
Yeah, it should be interesting to see how things go. We've also got Truby from Four Horsemen Gaming on the YouTube channel. What's up, Truby?
Hey, how's it going? Happy to be here. Just kicking out company, doing my usual Rift Tracks night every Monday. So
Solid. Next up, we have Zach Pope from Dice Masters with James and Zach. Why is your name second on that?
I was trying to be nice when I invited James to join the channel.
Oh, that's kind. That's a kind thing. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing all right.
Awesome. Next up after that, we've got Chris from Chris and Rob Game Room doing it right with his name first.
Yeah. Alphabetically, it comes correct, so you know.
Both of those flow off the tongue, though, so I'll give credit for that. And we have the one, the only Intercontinental Champion. Well, I guess not the only, but the best. Intercontinental Champion, Ben said, Scott, what's up, sir?
Hi, you're happy to have me.
I am happy to have you.
You
almost
forgot the modest title.
always. Almost always happy to have you.
Always. Yeah.
Like 90% of the time. So, as I said, we're going to talk about the Avengers Infinity products. That includes the Kree Invasion Team Pack, the Avengers Infinity Box, and the Justice Like Lightning Team Pack. And we'll go in order. We will each say our fifth pick, and after we say our fifth pick and talk about a little bit about why we pick it fifth, then the next person will go, and the next person. And then we'll all go through and talk about our fourth pick, and our third pick, and so on and so forth. All right. So the person who's going to kick us off first is Laurier. He's going to give us his fifth pick, his fifth most exciting card. So Laurier, what you got?
I've got Hulk Explosive Beginnings. Nah, just
No,
kidding.
you don't. Get that out of here. I pressed the button, man. Everyone sees it. Spoiled
it's raised
now.
shields. It's raised shields. The basic action, which essentially is going to give 2 characters +1 attack, +1 defense, and also if on burst or double burst, giving them Overcrush, on top of having a global where you pay bolt and boost the attack. This has so much potential to help aggro teams. I mean, rather than having Throne Card, which is a 4 cost, this is at 3, which slots much better and is a lot of fun. So in my opinion, this is going to do a lot to help aggro teams in this new meta, and I'm really excited to build with it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. I think this one's a really cool card as well. This was just barely off of my list. What do you guys think? Anything else?
This is the one that was basically Horn of the Unicorn before, right?
Yep.
Except Horn of the Unicorn was 1 character.
Right. So yeah, I definitely agree. This is a good one.
Oh no, actually you're right.
No, Horn of the Unicorn is
was
exactly the
2
same. It's a
characters.
reprint.
You're right, but it was missing in this meta. You did not have something
Well,
like
it's been a while.
at that cost in
Right.
this meta.
Yeah, it's good. I wish it wasn't just on the double burst and burst, but you can most often get that.
Maybe that'll make what's her name, Renette Tilly, viable.
Might be Renee. I don't know. I haven't asked her.
Yeah, I haven't asked her either.
It is Renette.
Or uncommon Rip Hunter, even though no one likes that card.
Yep.
Either way, those things are a lot more interesting with the inclusion of something like this into the meta.
Yeah, we didn't really have a good card with a bolt pump global on it, so it's always nice to have a.
And that's what we need in this game, more bolt synergies. We
That's
just
true.
don't have enough. Next
Make-
person to talk, next person to give us his top 5, his fifth pick is Zach. Zach, what is your fifth pick?
So I went with another basic action, the Confront the Mighty basic action.
Oh, is that what you went with? Because I see something different, but let me see if I can pull it up.
Is that not what you have there?
No, that's not what I have for you. That's interesting. We'll talk about
Well, it
Confront
is-
the Mighty a little bit.
Okay. 2 cost basic action, which is always a nice cost for a basic action, I find. I feel like I'm much more likely to buy 2 costs than 4 costs, for example.
Yeah.
Target character you control has attack equal to the defense of target opposing character die. Those 2 character dice deal damage to each other equal to their attack. So you get guaranteed removal on one thing on your opponent's side, whether it's Blob or Collector with 8 defense or whatever else they have.
Mm-hmm.
And I would love to try this out on a team with the rare Surtur. So
Oh, man.
probably even like a decrease in damage for Surtur, but then you get that trigger KO their whole board once you KO something.
And you're paying 2 for it instead of the normal 4 if you were using Arch Nemesis.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a great point. Solid point. So there it is on the screen. I whipped it up real fast, just threw it in. Confront the Mighty. I love that it's a 2-drop. What else do you guys think about this card?
It's awesome. I love it.
It's interesting. It's fun to have a good removal tool as a basic action. Like there are a couple that do it, but this is probably the best 2-cost removal tool I've ever seen on a basic action.
Yeah, compared to
I
something
can't
like
think of
Flying
anything
Hammer.
better. Yeah.
Flying Hammer, which just KOs a level 1 character. Like, this is just so much more control of that.
You know what just
Yeah.
occurred to me is that they also keep that attack till the end of the turn. So
Exactly,
if you've got a level
exactly.
3 blob out, you give one of your sidekicks 8 attack. If you could somehow prevent it from getting KO'd,
Then
now
you
you've
have an
got what
8
would
one,
be
yeah.
an unblockable 8 attack sidekick.
Which is cool, which is really cool. And you can do that on any character, too. It doesn't just have to be a sidekick, so they can
You're right,
have
yeah.
some sort of a defensive value as well and just survive the attack. This card's really awesome.
It's also great to use if you're using a tune with that Wasp, who I'm sure we'll be talking about a little bit later. And
Oh, yeah. That's a great one because you got a 2-cost thing there. Sweet.
I think it's pretty easy to make something survive with that, and if you're trying to like knock out Blob, because Blobos only have that one attack ever, so that's really sweet compared to a lot of other control knockout of Blob pieces.
The heck with Blob, this is a great against Collector.
It's great against a lot of things, though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
we can get around Scarlet Witch.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, so I'm up next. My first pick, my number 5 pick, is an interesting one to me. This is Red Skull, cut off one head. He's a 4-drop fist character, and he says, when an opposing character die is KO'd, Red Skull gains +1/+1 until the end of the turn. And the reason that this is my 5th pick is because this is a super interesting win condition for a team that I kind of enjoy playing and haven't gotten to play enough because it just didn't feel like it had a win condition in... I guess you could do it in a couple of ways with Danger Room or with the staff. So a staff team's looking to play staff and then just use something to ping and wipe your opponent's entire board and then just push with like lethal damage all in one turn. So it could be an OTK team. It could be something that plays out for a longer game, but it has OTK possibilities, and this to me screams like perfect win condition for that team. So I'm really excited to see if this fits on that team as I picture it, as I envision it. What do you guys think?
Cut
How do
off
you fix
one
that
head.
Hellfire Club?
Yeah.
Cut off one head and you grow another and pay horrible fielding costs.
Yeah, the fielding costs are terrible, but I'm just so pumped that team actually has some sort of big finisher that you don't have to, invest like 4 dice into, and like a bunch of ramp pieces to try and make a win condition. Basically, like Dum Dum Dugan's pretty awesome, and you can buy 2 of them, but you have to put Dum Dum on the team, and you have to put like a ramp fixer, like a sidekick fixer on the team, and you have to put a bunch of things. I'm curious to see if this can go on in place of like 3 things and open up new possibilities for that sort of a team. So I'm curious about that.
The fielding costs are bad, but you are not fielding this very often, right? You're fielding this once and winning, right?
Yeah, right.
It just stays there until you're ready, which is an improvement on his other versions.
Yeah.
I think compared to like a uncommon fix it, he does fit right in there. He's a little bit cheaper by 2 than the uncommon fix it, but I think he's a little bit more attainable than the uncommon fix it in a lot of the meta play.
And to me, it's just interesting to have multiple different teams that do very similar things, but you can kind of pick your poison, or you have, your preference on which way to lean. So yes, you could just sit here and argue that uncommon fix it's just more viable, quote unquote, and who actually knows if that's true. But it's nice to have multiple avenues of, reaching the same sort of thing, which is victory, I guess. So that's the reason that I picked this as my number 5. Truby, what do you think of your number 5? What do you got?
So I've got the Arnim Zola, Scientist Supreme. I know people with the some of the preview videos people have been doing, they've been sort of pooping on this card a little bit, or on Arnim Zola in general. But I actually do like this one because he's a 2-cost bolt who, with a good defense, decent defense at least, and he's got that kind of Alfred-like MI6 or MI5, whatever it was, ability where you just pay an energy and he comes right back. So he can just sort of sit out, and he synergizes well with something like Firefly, or if you got the Pack Lotto and got Gobby, or not Nobby, sorry, Norman Osborn, works well with that as well because he's also a villain. So it's one of these things where, if I've got someone new playing and they bought this box, I can go, oh, well, you want to play, you need a win condition. Here, have this Firefly. Now you've got a viable team just with Arnim Zola and Firefly.
2-cost bolt villains, yep, they were a big thing.
Yeah, I could see that being useful. I know I've been recently toying around with the rare Pyro, and he needs bolts in the reserve pool, so having cheap bolt characters can fit well in that.
Exactly. I mean, in any format, just a 2-cost character is always good. Having bolt synergy and villain synergy makes this worth it. And then you look at the stats and you realize that the stats are aggressive for a 2-drop. It's like, and he's got upside ability.
Yeah, he's gonna stay in the field. So he's gonna be there for the bolt dice you need. He'll survive on his level 2 and 3 face. He'll survive a breath weapon without having to pay any energy. So yeah, I think he's a solid card. I think he's gonna play. I think he's gonna see more play than people think.
This seems like a card that you could easily just reach for and slap on a lot of different teams, and for that reason, I can totally see why you would pick it as one of your top 5, because it could just be slap it on, and then 7 cards plus this one because it has some value, you know?
So I just feel like if it didn't have that bracketed text, it would be way more fun.
It would be insane if
Yeah.
it didn't have that. It would be crazy. Well, Ben, speaking of top 5 cards, let's hear yours. What is your 5th card?
Something amazing. It's Loki, Father of Mayhem. Actually, I don't know if this is amazing.
You tell us.
It's kind of wacky. I don't know. I'm excited because this card is weird. There's just very few ways of taking control of your opponent's stuff. I don't know how often you can use it with those defenses, but I feel like there was a team where you used the prismatic spray where you swapped stuff around one time, and then like it was the Captain America that pinged you back, and you could like set up a chain of events which meant you won
Yeah.
instantly. And I think this has that kind of same feel to me. Like you can do something crazy with this.
And you may
So-
not know what yet, but it's there, is what you're saying?
I'm kind of excited to see what people can come up with when taking control of one of your opponent's characters or giving them one of your characters.
Use it with Strahd. Give your opponent an adventure if they don't have one, and just ping the hell out of it.
Yeah.
Pump
Oh, I like that a lot.
Convoluted but fun.
Yeah, that's kind of what I mean. This is like a really like card to build around, right? It's a fun,
It does things
interesting.
exactly. It does things that don't really exist in the game, but in very small like moments. Like 1 or 2 cards have done this before, and not much else. And so we haven't really fleshed it out to know what we can do with it. So there's a lot of possibilities.
Yeah, just to be clear, this card is never making it onto any kind of WKO team or any kind of serious build. But I don't know. It's kind of wacky.
I see you trying to make that work, Ben. I see you trying to
Yeah,
make that
right.
work.
Like that's kind of what I chose. I chose stuff. I was like, yeah, I want to make a team around that. It might be terrible, but it might be, hey, look what I did, and oh my days, I'm not going to win, but it was pretty cool.
Well, and that's the point. This is a card that you're excited for. Chris, what is your 5th card that you're excited for?
I'm kind of what I went for in excitement is just cards in set that work together, and I went with Avengers ID cards making it official. I really picked that one because I thought in set it'll just make things bigger and just add for synergy going forward with the teams and just kind of make it ridiculous when building a team with the set. So
You just chose the most meta cards, right? And this is like super meta.
no, right when I saw the spoilers for this, I was super excited about this. In fact,
This
when
is super strong, yeah.
It's a
It
super
actually
cool
makes
card.
Common Kate Bishop viable.
Right? Exactly. It,
Wow.
it could almost make you want to play Comet K Bishop just because it's a 2-drop alongside the Avengers ID card.
I think when we were talking about it on our stream with Zach, me and Zach kept going back to Danger Room and all kinds of just shenanigans with the Avengers ID card and making it really ridiculous. I just love that card.
Yeah, this is an awesome card. This is one I'm very excited for this card as well. Chris, you're also going to give us your 4th pick as well, and we'll snake back around back down the list.
Okay. The next card I liked is Mach 1 Need for Speed. I really kind of liked it because it makes an affiliation that really haven't used before and make it. I mean, they've used it before, but makes it very viable and very powerful if you play it correctly. And that's why I'm really excited about this Mach 1. I told Zane in Australia about this card when it first got spoiled, and he was super excited about it because he loves flip teams, and this is a great flip card.
Yeah, this card is going to be awesome when all of your characters get flipped, or all your characters can't be blocked, and then you use Bat Signal to flip it, and then they all get +2 attack as well.
Yeah, disgusting.
Oh yeah.
Did we mention that it's a 4-drop, and then on one side it has villain synergy, and on one side you can take that away if that's a downside?
Mm-hmm. Oh my god.
Yeah, you just attack with everything, make sure everything's unblocked. Then when they've unblocked everything, you flip it and then give everything +2. And then
Yeah.
even if you're not doing that, you just attack with just it, right? And it's still a 7 attack on top level.
Yeah. Well, no, on top this is what is that? 5/4, I think.
Yeah, you
Seven
get
attack.
+2.
Then you buff it. Yeah, you're talking about the buff too. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's gross. Even by itself as a 4-drop, some of these abilities on it, you could argue that would be okay as a 4-drop if they didn't apply to anything else, but they apply to like everything.
Yeah, I mean, I've worked with a bunch of unblockable characters which don't get higher than 5 off of 4 cost, and it's, I don't know.
It's
And if you
solid.
have that, if you have that Avengers ID card and a mask, and you have that in play on the unblockable side, oh man, that's pretty gross.
Yeah, so this is a good inclusion. This is one that I didn't look at enough for it to really scream top 5 for me, but the more I think about it, it is a great card.
That whole team pack, it's so much to digest, but it's a lot of it is really good and a lot of fun. It's going to take a while to really
It's definitely a lot of fun,
grasp
yeah.
how good. Yeah.
I agree.
Some people from the UK might look at all the flip mechanics and just be like, I don't want to flip stuff. That's too complicated.
Turning
But-
my hand 180
Yeah.
degrees. Too
Yeah.
much.
What are you talking about there, Ben?
I don't know who specifically you'd be referring to, but
Just,
I'm sure there's
just
somebody out
people
there.
in the UK, you know.
Just in general,
Yeah,
the
you
whole
are
of
gonna see
UK.
competitive teams, though, based off that team pack, are going to be 80% of the Justice Like Lightning team pack, and then 20% of other stuff to complement that.
Yeah,
I don't know how
there's gonna be a Thunderbolt
competitive.
team for sure.
I don't know how competitive it'll be, but it'll certainly be a team that people run and try.
Thunderbolt stats are really good as well.
Yeah, super good.
And lots of overcrush in there.
Yeah,
And lots of them have
Overcrush is
multiple
strong.
affiliations.
Indeed.
Oh boy.
All right, Ben, give us your 4th.
Star-Lord, Space Boy.
Go
What do I
on.
say? He's so good. He's,
Go on.
I don't know. He's just like super fun. Like, how fun is that card?
I don't know, you tell us.
Active. Well, you get to prep a die for attacking. That's awesome. Like, I built teams around that Ricochet, which if he's unblocked, you prep a die, right? And that can be crazy ramp. This is just you attack. And there are a bunch of Guardians you want to attack with, right? Rocket Raccoon
Oh,
is a
boy.
perfect example. Mantis, you don't want her in the field. Just she preps to die when she's fielded, then you
Yep.
attack. They let her
Yondu.
through. Damage. Yondu. You're getting crazy ramp out of this. And
really
it's
are.
Cool. It's good artwork. I like the artwork.
I do too.
Good stats.
You like playing with that Rocket Raccoon way too much. You even ran it at one of the qualifiers for Canadian Nationals.
super good, yeah. I know it's not the best. Like, it's not the best card in the game, but it's pretty strong. Like, do they want to block and take damage? Well, it doesn't matter because you already prepped to die and you already
Yeah.
in your bag.
Yeah.
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 Oh, I agree.
No, this is a card that makes me want to play a Guardians team, and that I haven't said that about any Guardians character ever. Even the super rare that gives everything call out. Like, I don't want to play a Guardians team just for call out. I want to play a Guardians team because I want to draw my entire bag.
Hey, don't underestimate call out.
I
Yeah,
wish you could play this one with that one. It's too bad that they're the same character.
Yeah,
Because it'd be fun if you could attack and use call out and prep a die.
that would be cool.
pretty cool. But that call out, you don't need to use call out most of the time because they probably want to block.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because those stats on the Rocket and the Yondu are pretty beefy.
I mean,
Well, there's
just
like
generally,
a couple different ways to get Drax out really cheaply, and he's always got good stats.
yeah.
I mean, if they block or just let it go through, you're doing great because if they block that rocket, it's helping you out and it's thinning the bag and thinning their field. So it's just all around just good having that Space Boy for a Guardians team.
And you have this to look at for limited constructed type things like draft. Like, you pick this up in draft, and then you pick up any of those rockets. Well, maybe not any. 2 of the 3 of the rockets that are in that team pack in some sort of a draft scenario, and you're just off to the races because that's ridiculous amounts of ramp for a draft.
Yeah, I'm always interested in kind of new ways to ramp as well, and there's not that much ramp, at least not a lot of clear ramp, right? There's not obvious mimic style ramp in this set or
Yeah.
global style ramp, apart from the Atlas, right?
Yeah,
And this kind of has that in spades, and especially in draft, you're going to get a bunch of energy.
definitely. Well, Truby, let's move on to your 4th pick. What is your 4th pick, sir?
Oh, yeah, speaking of Atlas,
Mm-hmm.
I picked Atlas Purge of Pin Particles. I, for one, like that he has the Resurrection Global with Fist. I'm a big fan of Fist energy, and just not having to have shields is great. So now I can just do it with Fist. And also, if you get Amplify and spin him up a level, he flips over, and it's one of these cards that after it flips, it stays until he's taken out. He now gives all the Thunderbolts Overcrush. So that's also pretty
Yeah.
awesome. So he starts off as a ramp tool, eventually you get him out, now he's a win condition. So after you use a basic action or action in general.
Yeah, which isn't terribly hard to do.
No, especially when you
Because-
have those good 2 costs and
Yeah, or you're running
maybe,
like investigation even.
yeah.
My favorite thing about this card is you could get to control when your opponent can use resurrection. Like you can just be like, nope, it's flipping. Sorry.
Yeah, which is cool.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I
Do it on
love
my
that.
turn. Flip.
Yeah, that was just off of my top 5. I love how it actually allows you to get the Resurrection Global without having to tie up one of your basic actions. Because there are some teams, like say Fix-It teams, where your 2 basic actions are a lock. It has to be Magic Missile / Unstable Canister and something to give Fix-It Overcrush,
Yep.
typically.
I totally
having-
agree.
Yeah.
So having Atlas there to give the Resurrection Global, it gives teams like that a really good tool in the arsenal.
It gives just Dice Masters team creation in general a lot more flexibility, because now you have to actually think, do I want a basic action slot taken up or do I want a character slot taken up? Which is more beneficial to me? And that has never been in the game before when it comes to ramp globals like this.
Well, yeah, people still run the Ran Silver Surfer and the Tabaxi Rogue, right, which have similar
Yeah.
abilities,
Mhm.
but are much weaker than this.
And you can bring them both if you needed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You could.
Nice.
You could technically bring a shield global and a fist global and do this twice a turn. You're giving that to your opponent, but at the same time, you're benefiting from it yourself as well, which is really, really cool.
Yeah.
And you could bring Villainous Pact.
Man, you just go
Just go
crazy
nuts
with the
with it,
ramp
yeah.
global. That would be sick. That
Yes,
would
do
be.
the turn 1 prep a die. Turn 1 prep 3 dice.
There it is. That's the play right there. So
And turn 2, you buy a 7 cost.
you could. I mean, if you choose to take that route, that is what it opens up to, and that's something that hasn't really been available
Well, that means
since
the turn-
early game. You know, early in the Dice
Yeah.
Masters world.
Uh-huh.
So we'll move on to my 4th pick. I kind of took the spike route with my picks just because these cards are super interesting to me, and I like building powerful teams like this. I picked Wasp Flitting About. It's hard to talk about this card and not say anything we haven't all said before about this card because it's just insane. Avengers, 3 cost, good stat line. Yeah, you have to pay 2 on top, but so do you with Elf Druid. It's a whole new avenue for a tune if something happens with Yuan-Ti that might make a tune like fun and not universally hated while still being really powerful. Like, I've always loved the attune ability. I like the flexibility that it provides. You know, you could choose to ping something out on the board or just deal face damage, and it is that choice that, you know, can separate good players versus not good players. I think that's super interesting, but it's sad that that attune keyword was sort of broken with the, you know, other printed cards, and I like the idea of there being something that might bridge the gap between people hating it and people enjoying it. So that's why I picked this as my 4.
Yeah, Michael Ingledew played a team using this because he's already got his set, and he had 2 attune characters out, and it didn't take much. I mean, he had a pretty good roll, but he was using investigation, and I think he got a couple of Avengers IDs that turn, and they all rolled, and it's something like a 25 or 26 attack Wasp with Overcrush came at me.
And that's the kind of thing that I enjoy about the game, is being able to say something like that. I attacked with a 26 attack Wasp, you know, like a 26-26, and I may have gotten chump blocked, but man, it was 26-26. Or like when you hear someone say, I dealt 72 damage with 2 team ups. It's like, that's cool. It may have been really sad for your opponent, or it may have not done anything or done what you wanted it to, but you buffed something to that amount. That's cool to me.
Yeah.
So that's why I picked that as my number 4. Zach, what is your number 4?
My number 4 is Black Panther. So I picked the Orphan King. Black Panther cannot be blocked by villain character dice or sidekick character dice. 4/2/5/2/8/2, which is I remember playing the old Black Panther back in Uncanny X-Men, and there was one that if he attacked alone, he got +2 attack, and so you could get like 10 attack on his level 3 side, and you just had to find a way to make him unblockable. Well, this one can't be blocked by villains or sidekicks, and as I mentioned on Chris and Rob's stream, there's a real easy way to make sure that everything your opponent has is villains or sidekicks, and that's Danger Room. So for a 2-cost action, you can make him 100% unblockable. Unless you've got Avengers ID card and they like steal an affiliation or something. But I just love the idea that you can that you can just like have this big character that can just constantly go through over and over again and possibly do 8 damage every time he does that.
Oh,
Or if you
that
have a
card is so cool.
no, you were speaking first. Definitely it's a really good card.
Okay, this card though, the Black Panther. I'm debating so much when I'm gonna do a rare Danger Room team next. Do I use Black Panther or Batman? That's-
Why not both?
Yeah, right.
oh boy.
That Batman's not that hard to get to, and those two together, oh my god.
Yeah.
I would like it if it was a 4 cost, much better.
It would be really, really good if it would be a lot better if it were a 4 cost. Being a 5 cost kind of edges it a little bit, makes you, do you want to reach for this or do you want to just, stick with what you've
That
got?
was very insightful commentary, right? Like, this card would be better if it was cheaper.
I mean, it is what it
think
is,
it'd be better
right?
I think it'd be better for a 1 cost. Let's be honest.
You're right. I think it would be better for a 1
maybe,
cost.
maybe.
But
I mean,
man,
as a
if it
4
were
cost, you might just
1
include it all the
less.
time. But as a 5 cost, you gotta make it worthwhile. You gotta bring Danger Room or something, right?
Well, can you argue
With
that
that
this
attack.
is a good stat line for a 4 drop though? That's the question, because is it perfect at a 5 or is it broken at 4? I don't know if it's necessarily
toughness
broken.
is
I
too,
mean, it's not a
the
card you
toughness
leave in
is
the
too low.
field, that's for sure.
The toughness is too low for a 5 drop in my view. Yeah, the attack
Dude,
stat's
I
huge.
think with that attack stat, I think that sort of offsets it. Really.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you're bringing Danger Room to make him unblockable, they could just save 2 lightning bolts and ping him off.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can save 1 mask and Kate Bishop him back, so.
Yeah, I mean, there's always gonna be that, but
I just think if it was a 4 cost, there'd be almost an auto include on like the Danger Room Collector Nobby teams, right? Because you can just, if they're blocking Nobby with whatever, you can just switch this. But at the 5 cost where you have to pay 3 instead of 1 if you Collector him in, I just don't see it. But if it was 2 instead of 1 for the Nobby, I could see it.
yeah.
Makes
Well,
sense.
that's
I'll probably experiment with this one. Just that's why it's number 4.
Yeah.
Fists are also super good, right? Like aggressive.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
have that streak for him.
That's
Indeed.
true.
All right, let's
I
move
did have
on.
a tough time deciding between this one and the one that gets +1/+1 for opposing villains. That one you have to work a little bit harder to make everything a villain and give him Overcrush or Unblockable
Yeah.
or something. But I think this one's a little easier to include.
Yeah, I agree. Laurier, lay your top 4 on us. What is your 4th pick?
It is Thanos, Prove Love for Lady Death. This is essentially I win the card. Let's be honest here. Because that is just a win condition in 1 card. Normally you need to set up with 2, 3 different pieces. This guy, the second he shows up, just the fact that when he deals Overcrush, he doubles that damage.
Yeah, that's gross.
On that 9/9 max face, if your opponent only can block, say, a sidekick, that is 16 damage of Overcrush right there. 1 character.
Well, in that case, you just take it.
Yeah, right?
No,
Yeah.
but then you just use the record global to force someone to block.
Yeah, if you force
Yeah.
block into this, if that's how you've built your team around, then this is it's already a really solid win condition, right? But even the building around it aspect, it makes this even more powerful.
You
You
can
want to
also,
make this card better.
you could even do it with Uncommon Bishop and switch blockers around.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
that's expensive, but yeah, that'd be cool.
There's like a Displacer Beast that does that too, right? Not in Modern, but still.
Not
Yeah,
hard,
if you
though.
went back to Golden, sure, yeah.
Yeah,
If this card was 6 cost, let me just tell you something.
Yes, if we just bumped it down a little
But you
bit.
know what though? That 8 cost is actually not that hard to get to anymore. Seeing all the discounts, and I'm sure we'll get to discuss that a little later, and ramp that we have in Modern, that 8 cost is quite attainable now.
Yeah, I was playing with Professor X last night, and it's just in that meta, it was so difficult
was-
to get anything and not break your ramp, because you don't want to break ramp because your opponent's not breaking ramp, and then you're like,
Yeah.
I don't want to put dice in my bag. That's ridiculous. But now the game doesn't have that, right? Like it's very much like you can buy that one big dude, wait
And you
for it
can
to cycle.
maintain, yeah.
Yeah,
One of my favorite cards from all time is that Wolverine, the best there is, that dealt double damage to the characters that blocked him. And if you gave him Overcrush, you got basically this card.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
This one has a few less steps to go through. And when you're using, you use a force block, and then if you have the Kona Cold Global, every fist is +2 attack, which could become 4 damage for it to become very deadly very quickly.
Hmm.
Let's not give people ideas. That's
And
just
that
no.
combo works still in Modern, which is great. With this card,
Yeah, yeah.
you just got to
Yeah.
pay 8 for it. So,
Oh.
Laurier, give us your third as well, because we're going to snake back up the list, and you're going to start us off on 3.
Well, I'm going to start us off with a card that is rather boring from a meta standpoint. It is Wasp Flitting About. But here's the thing. That thing is, as you mentioned, Stephen, the fact is it completely changes, it gives you a completely different approach to a tune. You don't have to just go for boring burn teams. I played Super Arianti at one of the Nationals qualifiers. I was bored. I didn't like playing that style. But this kind of a tune, where you could use a tune to ping off blockers and then swing in with Wasp, I love that. That's so much fun. And that makes me excited because it gives me an opportunity to use those attune cards that I like without having to rely on a broken and boring strategy.
And you don't feel terrible doing it either, right? Which is an important thing about this. Like, these cards you're supposed to have fun with the game, and if you feel terrible while you're playing, then what's the point?
It wasn't even that I was feeling terrible. It's just I didn't like the style.
Well, sure.
You could just go through and make Super Yanti, just have her and just ping out characters and just make her basically unblockable and get to really ridiculous with the Wasp.
Yeah. Or you could use the raised shields to give her overcrush.
You are correct.
But she's also kind of similar to the take off a tune. She's kind of similar to the uncommon Dwarf Wizard, which no one ever really seemed to use except for maybe in draft.
Yeah, she is. That's good.
That was always a really fun card to use. Actually, it was usually a target for me for the Fair and Under Siege drafts because no one was really expecting it, and all of a sudden you've got this giant dwarf charging through for overcrush damage.
Oh, we saw the uncommon Dwarf Wizard in my meta in Ultraman teams. Oh, that was painful.
James famously used it with Ultraman and Kryptonite.
Yeah.
So you trigger all 4 basic actions.
And you get that
And that would work with
huge
this Wasp
buff.
as well.
Yeah, I mean,
Yes, it would.
This card goes straight into an Ultraman Kryptonite team. That makes it
Yeah.
disgusting.
Totally. Definitely.
Someone should run that for the Golden Age tournament coming up online.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the rest of the world's gonna have it, so
Yeah.
And that's why you'll win, Chris.
it's not gonna be legal.
Correct. All right, Zach, what's your number 3?
My number 3 is Kree Captain Lost Purpose. All the Kree soldiers and the Kree captains, like really cheap, fist, aggro, seems pretty fun. The Kree Captain is a 3 cost that always has 3 attack, so you never have to worry about getting he's got low defense on his other faces, but you always kind of know what you're getting
This card's
attack-wise.
so cool.
And then he gets +1/+1 for every active villain character. If only there was some way of making everything into the field of villain, though. That would probably
I don't
be
think that
pretty
exists.
good for a 3-cost character at that point. And then the global, pay 2 fists once per turn. The next character you purchase costs 3 less. So a little bit harder to use than some of the other globals, but unlike Ring of Winter, you don't have to use it specifically on 6 cost or higher characters. And so as long as you're getting fists somehow, you can always have that 1 energy discount on characters, which unfortunately you can't use on him, but will probably be pretty helpful with other kinds of builds.
Well, you could use it on him, but you still have to pay 1.
Yeah, you have to pay 3 fists for it.
It just kind of makes a mockery out of that Black Panther, though, doesn't it? Not the one you
much more.
chose, the previous one. The one
Yeah.
+1/+1 for each villain, but it's a 5 cost. And this card's just way better.
So
and
you
it has
start
a
off
global.
quite a bit higher up.
I guess.
That is true.
It doesn't have the global on it, so you can certainly put both of them on the same
You
team.
could put
And then
them
Black
both
Panther
on.
is a 4 cost.
That's true.
Boom. There's the strat right there.
Yeah.
All right.
But that's kind of like the Dum Dum thing, where you could get a 2 cost that would have crazy high stats. This one you can get at crazy high stats whether or not you're getting sidekicks out, or you're and whatever your opponent plays, you just make it a villain.
Yeah, I mean, fists are definitely going to be a thing, right? Aggro fists are going to be a thing, and then this fits perfectly in with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Speaking of Kree Captain, my third pick is Kree Captain, Lost Purpose, for all the same reasons that you mentioned. And that global is, again, insane. And it's so cool to me to see the transition from collectible card game to an LCG means that they're printing globals that are similar or do similar things, but they're printing them on a wide scale. So everybody now has access to something that discounts very similarly to what Ring of Winter did. And you just have to pay 2 fists for it. And you get a similar discount. Now it applies to any purchase cost character die. So now 5-drops have the benefit of being able to be discounted, which I think is really cool because there was a little bit of this weird gray area where you needed a really powerful 5-drop because you actually had to hard pay 5 for it, whereas with a 6-drop you could discount, and usually it had synergy with it was a win condition generally. 5 costs haven't really been win conditions, and so to justify purchasing a 5 cost in the past meant it had to be really good outside of a win condition, and this makes it a lot easier to get to some of those 5-drops that you want to play but don't quite have the punch to make their way onto a team hard buying them. So this is why I love this global, and I'm glad they printed it like this.
Doesn't it make you wish that Gorilla Grodd with the Fistmaker was still in Modern, right? Rather than that Yarnborn, which just
because then you have a villain synergy on top of that, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, this card's crazy.
You know what I just reminded of is that Beholder that you can use globals for free.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite beholders.
You get to buy the next thing for 3 less.
That would be pretty good, huh?
That's a good Golden Age combo. Someone write that down. Write that down.
And you wouldn't even have to do like the Blue Eyes White Dragon thing where you had to KO something. You would just straight up get a 3 discount.
Someone record this or stream this.
You put both.
You put both on.
You put both, and you buy Fix It for 1.
Yeah.
Ew, gross.
I mean,
No.
If you had it and you had it, you could field Beholder and buy that Thanos for 2.
No, we're moving on. This is getting disgusting. Truby, what's your number 3? Let's move on. Truby, what's your number 3? Ugh.
Oh, I'm also all about this Kree Invasion team pack, but I'm not yet talking about the Kree Captain. Instead, I'm
spoiler
going
alert.
with the Supreme Intelligence Assimilated Hive Mind. I like Fabricate. I like that Fabricate is working here with the Kree. That's the one issue is you have to use something with Kree in its name, at least one of the dice, to get to fabricate this dude. But still, like, get him out. Then when you field another Kree, he gets +1, or all character dice you control get +1/+1. If you're doing Swarm with the Kree Soldier, you're very likely to going to be cycling through your Kree a lot. The global is all right. I'm fine with it. I don't love it, but I mean, it's fine. I'll probably end up using it for Kree Soldier or Battery Battle Stack or something like that. Move it to my prep so I get it a little faster. But the other thing that I like that we were talking about getting to that Thanos is, you just fabricate a Kree and something else to get this 7 cost into your use pile, then use Nowhere and Nowhere in that Thanos. And then you can just rebuy this Supreme Intelligence with another Fabricate.
Do you know what I was really interested in? The Thanos that lets you put villains back on its card.
Yeah.
Cheaper. Like, use this so you have basically unlimited Fabricates because you can just keep putting them back on the card as well.
Oh yeah.
I
Yeah,
like
that works too.
I like the global on this as well. I think the global's really cool. I think it's expensive, but I think the ability to it's probably looking back at it, it's probably a more balanced version of Chalkboard, just because Chalkboard was so disgusting and it was so
Right.
good on a lot of teams for that meta that this makes a lot more sense for them to pull it back. But I think it's a really cool global.
It's a good way to set up Swarm pretty early.
And it's
Oh,
good
yeah.
for basically when you've got weenie teams. If you're doing like a big weenie team, I think it's a really good global. But it depends on what you're doing. Obviously, if you're going with all 3 costs on your team, it's going to
Oh,
be
yeah, it's
3 costs
crap.
and more.
That's
It's
trash.
it's worthless. But
Sure.
Side note: in Golden Age, you're going to be able to move a rare cosmic cube back to your prep from used.
Exactly. That's the scary thing about this is it can do stuff like that, right?
Oh yeah, it's not even character. Yeah.
No, it's just a straight up die, which is
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
Do you think
Across
this
the
had a
mighty.
place on a spot team, just so you get that spot out and make sure you get it out pretty quick before you get the investigations going through?
Well, that would hit the spot.
Yeah, it
Oh
would.
my gosh.
Thanks.
I could see it. I could see that. Yeah, definitely.
I'm trying to think about 2 costs. Like Jubilee would be another one you'd want to get out pretty early.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep, Boom Boom, Yanti, the unblockable one, the common one even.
All the
There's
terrible gross cards, yeah.
the Kree soldiers are 2 drops. There's a lot of Primaris and Incessors and stuff like that.
And then there's
Continue on. Ignore me.
We could do we could do Wong with Insect Blade swinging with the Wong.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Then
Yeah.
Day 2 to bring him back.
That's what I'm saying. It's a gross global, and it can go on a lot of things because there's a lot of good 2-drops in the game, and you generally run a lot of good 2-drops. So I'm high on this card just because of the global. Even starting at that point.
Is it
Ben,
your turn only? Sorry, is it your turn only? No, you can. do it on
no,
your
you
turn.
can do it on your opponent's turn too.
That's pretty nasty.
Oh wow, yeah.
Yeah,
Also,
no, it's
shout out
totally.
to the other Supreme Intelligences. They're all pretty good. And they all have
Yes, they
different
are.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 can be a lot to pay when we used to have that chalkboard global,
But on your
paying
opponent's
2
turn, after
for something
blockers,
that when you've got like 7 dice going into your bag, it's worth it to not have to wait for 2 turns to get that back out again.
And the chalkboard
Mhm.
is only when you buy. This is anytime you want. So.
Anytime.
Exactly, yeah.
You push through with an attacker you want to have back next turn. There it is. Oh my god, terrifying sounds. What was that?
Sorry, it's
Ooh.
just my motorbike going past.
Driving. You're riding right
Chilling-
now.
chilling
You're
on my
riding
hog.
while you're doing this.
Yeah,
That's
sorry.
that's someone paying too generic to prep something.
That's
Yeah.
the sound
Yeah,
that you
that's
get.
the sound.
Ben, lay us on your third pick. What's your third pick?
It's Confront the Mighty.
Hey, we've seen that.
Yeah, we have, and it was very undervalued by everyone else, including Zach, who only put it 5th or something. Why is this not number everyone's number one? This card is amazing. It's not even my
Why is
number
it
one.
It's not even your number one.
I have trepidations about this card,
It's not even.
and they mainly revolve around whether you can keep the thing you swap alive. Because it's kind of like Splinter's teachings, right? You want to give it to a sidekick, but then you have to keep your sidekick alive.
Yeah.
And that's my only one downside to this card. I think this is just targeted removal as it's been done the best, maybe on a basic action.
You
It's
could
2
give
cost.
You could give it to Blob. You could
Yeah, you can take
use
a
it
Blob,
on
right?
Blob, and you have an 8/8. I'm
you have an
saying use it
8/8
on your
Blob.
Blob. That'd be sick.
That revolves them. That relies on them having a 1/8 character or something like that, right?
Yeah, but if you have an 8 defense character, you can swap with just about
And there are a
anything
lot of
and
those-
survive.
Yeah, there are a lot of those in the meta, which is good. But yeah, the main thing is it's a combination of one of my favorite basic global abilities and one of my favorite basic actions. So it's Splinter's Teachings plus Arch Nemesis.
Yeah.
And all that for 2, and it's super good. I think
Yeah.
attack through with stuff, wait until they haven't blocked something, and then just take their highest defense.
And it's almost better that it is. Well, it's not almost better. It's sort of like there's an upside to it being on an action die because now it triggers action die abilities too.
That's
So there's
true, but
an
who cares
extra
about
thing.
that?
It's not
No,
global
that's-
speed, but action die abilities are pretty cool.
Yeah. And you'd think for as cheap as it is that it would also give your opponent, like with Arch Nemesis, they just did their attack to each other. This
Yeah.
is cheaper and you get bonus attack, but they don't.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, you get to choose basically as well, right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
it's
pretty
gross.
strong. It'd be really good with that wasp actually.
Well,
Yeah.
Ben, since we're going to snake back around, you get to give us your second one, and this marks a turning point for, I think, for all of us, because
Actually,
we're...
Chris first.
Chris,
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm
Chris.
sorry, Chris. I didn't scroll up on my thing. Chris, give us your third pick, sir.
My third pick is Ant-Man Petty Theft. Me and Ben have been talking about this one a lot, and it's really nice because you awaken and he's unblockable, and you can get him pretty gross with a lot of different things in the meta, especially from everything that is coming out on Wednesday. You can make him pretty gross really quickly, and I don't think people are ready for it. And he's a 2-3-5, so he can get pretty big pretty fast.
Yeah. So you
Get some-
have a 3-drop Avengers character that combos with the 2-drop that you had picked for your 5th best card, right?
Yeah.
And so it spins up, becomes unblockable, gets +2/+2. That's pretty gross.
He's also a Thunderbolt along with being an Avenger, so he actually matches up with my 4th best card too.
That's true.
Or may I just point out? Did someone say team up? That
Yeah, it
thing
would
in
be
a
gross.
team up team is gonna be disgusting.
Gross.
Yeah, it would be
yeah.
really gross. It would be gross. It's a solid card. Yeah, definitely.
I like a lot of the Awaken abilities you want to use over and over again, right? Like Jubilee or the Rare Storm or whatever. And so you have to have mutation because you need to be able to spin him up and down. Whereas Ant-Man, all you really need to do is spin him up and then attack with him, right? And so you could justify using the Gigantic Global instead of Mutation.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's
Because,
true.
you know,
Max
once
face.
he's gotten to level 3 and you've spun him up, just attack, right? And then you just get to do it all over again.
Or if he's on the top side and you have Mach 1 in the field, you just,
Give him
Pull through
Overcrush
with that.
instead, or
Yeah,
give him
exactly,
something
yeah.
else instead. I mean, he's still a 5/2, and there's a chance he gets KO'd and you roll him again. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
I mean, there's not a ton of downside on this card, is there?
no. I probably should have put him higher, but
Well, I don't know.
more
Let's
excited
take
about the other two.
let's take a look at your number 2, because it's worth arguing to justify one or the other, and I don't know if you can justify that being higher than this next one.
Yeah, I put Wasp flitting about. I'm a heavy Attune player, and Wasp is just kind of nasty and really fun and awesome for that. So everything that everyone said so far, plus it's Attune. So
Exactly. I mean, what's more to say about that, right? That card is sick.
It'd be interesting to see how it does against the anti-super rare
Like in counterplay.
in counterplay. Yeah.
Yeah.
That low toughness is gonna hurt. Is gonna hurt Wasp in that regard.
Yeah, but it's still got. I mean, what doesn't it get the +1/1?
It would get
It
+1,
would trigger
+1, yeah.
after. It would
How does the
trigger
Q
after.
work on that? If it has 3 defense, and they
Sure,
deal
but it
3
still
damage
has.
to it,
Yeah,
it gets +1.
it would still die. I think.
It would get KO'd. It would be removed from the field via KO, and then the things wouldn't,
But it
trigger.
still
yeah,
survives
you're right.
one. It still survives one thing, right?
It can
Apart from
survive
level
one
one.
attune if you don't have Pseudo Dragon. It can survive one ping constantly.
Well,
if you have
even-
Pseudo Dragon, it's on level 2. It can survive 2 pings.
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
when you use Attune.
Yeah, so it only buffs when you but your characters would be using attune.
Never mind. Oh no,
Yeah.
your Wasp would be using Attune.
Yeah, your Wasp would
But
be
by
using
the
it.
point, it would get to
It
get
would-
the +1/+1,
yeah.
it would be too late.
If you're
Unless
playing
you
Yonzi,
survive the first hit.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're playing Super Yonzi, you're knocking out that Wasp first thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, even then, though,
Okay.
like, your opponent can have a giant Wasp on your turn, but then you just don't attack, and it doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
Then if you have something like Gold Dragon or Shriek out, right, they have to target that first,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and then it's just a pain that keeps
Yeah.
getting massive. I mean, I don't know what you do with those attack stats on your opponent's turn, but never mind.
Probably nothing, but still.
Yeah.
It's still
Well,
got
you can't
upside,
stop.
So Ben, speaking of, Ben, show us your number 2 pick.
Yeah, that's why that Wasp wasn't on my list. Garbage.
There it is.
Black Widow, the Widow's Bite is my number 2.
This is the first time we've seen this in the top 5 for anybody, so tell us why.
Yeah, I feel like this card should be number 1 I think if I'm going to say stuff for you guys now. If we were choosing our top 5 best, strongest meta cards, I think this would be number 1, or should have been number 1 for pretty much everyone.
It would certainly be up there, right? Because
It would
can
definitely
do a lot.
be in the top 2 or 3. This card is super good. That Force Attack Global Rex, a bunch of stuff, pretty much every meta card in the game, especially Collector, Blob, Shriek, Mimic, Ramp, Pseudo Dragon, Yanti, Zandala. They're all kind of broken by this card, right? That Force Attack. I'm worried about it because it gives it gives most of those control teams just an excuse, even more of an excuse to put Kate Bishop in, which is horrible because Kate Bishop is the
Agreed.
worst. So the global's amazing. Just that alone makes it probably one of the strongest cards in this set.
Yeah, the global is
And
amazing.
then that ability is pretty broken, and we can talk about that on someone else's turn.
Yeah.
I
Agreed.
think forcing the opponents to put a character on their team that they don't want to put on there because they want to avoid Black Widow, I think that's fine.
Yeah, but Kate Bishop kind of fits on the Yanti teams especially pretty well.
Yeah.
But on, like,
But
Collector
it's
and
also-
Hulk and stuff, things that you want to leave out forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
also
totally
means they're sitting on
counters that.
energy. It also means they're sitting on energy. If you don't plan on attacking and they're still just sitting on masks for no good reason.
Yeah, exactly. Particularly early on in the game, right? Like if you can force the Yanti team to waste
And energy.
an energy they don't buy improvised weapon with, and you save yourself 2 life or 4 life at that moment, and you can get some more of your control pieces out. Then they're saving fists to take out your control pieces, and then yeah,
It's going to be
I-
a lot of counterplay.
And it's a lot of
Yeah.
stuff that you just don't want to commit to if you don't have to, and then you're forced to because your opponent brought it. I think this is an insane card. I'll talk about it more as we go around because
I think the
you're
Mimic
not the
thing
only
is
one to
best
pick
thing.
it.
The Mimic thing is the one that's going to really suffer, and that's the best form of ramp in the set.
Yeah.
In Modern.
Well, and we can talk about that because we're going to talk about this card a couple of more times.
Yeah, we are.
Spoiler alert. There's a lot to talk about with this card. I think it's a really good one. Truby, you still there?
Yep, still here.
Lay us on your number 2 pick.
Well, speaking of cards we're going to talk about a lot, I think this is the last time this one comes up, but Kree Captain Lost Purpose. We talked about it before. Only thing I'll add is I also think in like a Norman Osborn team, I think he's a good backup win condition. So if something's preventing your damage, like a bishop is stopping Norman Osborn, or if it's been shrieked, you can go for the Kree Captain for a backup. He's going to get nice and big and hopefully crush through and win the game for you.
Yeah, kind of what I was saying about that Black Panther, right? Like the Black Panther would have been an alternate if it was slightly cheaper. This just fits it because it's exactly the same cost as Nobby, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
One cost with collector.
Yep. It's good. It's solid. It's a great card. It just covers all the bases. Well, most of the bases, especially for those specific teams you mentioned. I love it. Next up is me, isn't it?
Yep.
Okay, well, speaking of cards we're going to talk about again, let's go back to what we were talking about before with Black Widow, the Widow's Bite. This card, I mean, let's just not even look at what the text says, like not even look at what the actual card ability does, and let's just talk about how the global changes just about every team that plays in the meta right now, because they're all of them are running something that they want to leave in the field, even if it's just Shriek, and every single team that won US Nats had Shriek on their team. Every single one. And I think even like the top 16, every single top 16 cut had Shriek on the team. And so this has immediate playability with regards to even just one character you want to pull out of the field. This is perfect on an aggro team because you don't care if they use it on your stuff. You're attacking anyway. And so it kind of shifts the meta from things that I wanted to keep in the field to now I basically either have to put Kate Bishop on my team because I have this one control piece that I think is really powerful, or I have to think about what aggro pieces I can now put onto the team because I am going to get stuff pulled out of the field probably no matter what, because I will see this card a lot.
I also think that Black Widow, just the global itself, kind of diminishes Green Devil Mask a lot to where no one's going to be running Green Devil Mask hardly at all.
I don't think that's quite accurate. I think some teams will still want a thin field on the opposing side to be able to attack.
I think what
But
Chris is
it
saying, you
does-
can use the global to make their field thin.
Yeah.
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 So you run this instead of the Green Devil Mask.
And so you don't have to worry about Scarlet Witch at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, it pulls out Scarlet Witch too. That's insane.
Except that
Yeah.
when you're going to see that Kate Bishop counterplay, some people are going to go back to Green Devil Mask because you can't stop Green Devil Mask with Kate Bishop.
But when that starts happening, that's when the game is at its best, right? If you do something
Exactly.
that makes everyone have to do something else.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
Force
yeah,
attack has always
totally.
been better than force block because you get it out for your turn, and it's so powerful.
Yeah.
Things like Shriek, things like Scarlet Witch,
Mm-hmm.
and it goes to the use pile, right? It goes away. And the old global, the old card that had the same global was Bane, and there were some decent Banes, but you had to kind of build around them. This is way more playable of a card, and also just cheaper anyway. So,
Or
not
you
only
didn't
would
even
bring
buy
for
it and
the
just
global,
ran it
but
for
you
the
would
global.
definitely consider buying it.
This is the
Exactly.
first force attack card where you want to attack with the die that you
Mhm.
buy.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
The Bane, you wanted to keep it, so you force attack into the Bane, right?
Yes.
There was Phoenix that did the same thing.
Yeah.
There was it Doctor Strange that was like this but defensive, so you wanted them to attack in so they didn't do any damage.
Yeah.
But they could
This you actually
counterplay
just
by
wanna
using it
s-
against you, like the global.
Yeah. This one is just you want to smash them in the face and then just recycle your Black Widows as fast as you can.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Mm-hmm. Zach, let's talk about your number 2 pick.
Well, it was my number 1 pick, and then Ben made me change it to number 2 so that he could have it as number 1.
I remember doing that.
Cyberbully.
It is Ant-Man Petty Theft. We already talked about this one enough, I think. Good Awaken ability, really interesting use of Awaken, double affiliated, unblockable, just like not even contingency, like can't be blocked by lower level, just straight up unblockable. And even if you don't do anything else, then you get 5 damage through, and that's a quarter of their life already.
Yeah.
You use something like Avengers ID card and make it 7 or something. I mean, we've already talked about it, but it's great.
It is great.
You
It's
can kind of tell who Ben
great.
talks to a lot with the cards they picked.
I don't know about that.
I know he's
Ooh.
been. Ben loves that petty theft.
That's a
and he's
solid
been
card,
preaching oh yeah, it's really great.
I don't know. It might not even be in my top 5.
I think it's 6 for him. It's number 6.
Yeah,
Spoiler
Different
alert, it was
stuff.
number 6, yeah.
I think Thor is going to be his number 1.
Every problem is a nail. Let's jump over to Laurier. Laurier, you want to lay us on your number 2 pick?
Okay, speaking of cards we talk about a lot.
Oh man, let's talk about
Widow,
it.
Black Widow, the Widow's Bite. We've talked about that card way too much already, but I
You
just
get the
wanna-
final word on it then. Why don't you give us the final word? Give us exactly the one that you can succinctly sum it up.
Awesome to have. Just having some
That's
way
their
of
words.
stopping. Oh, fine then. Just awesome. It is the one card in this set that would make me want to get 4 dice. No
Agreed,
other card in
agreed.
this set.
That's a good way to describe it.
I mean,
Yeah.
every other card in this set, I'd be fine with 3. I wouldn't even give it a second thought. This is the one card that was making me give it a second look. Because that ability benefits from multiple characters being fielded. It makes you want to run max dice with her. She is very strong. She makes aggro substantially stronger both with her global and her ability. Like it's versatile, it is useful, and I mean it's an aggro piece that's also got good fielding costs, which is something that unfortunately neither Wasp nor Thanos, my previous 2 picks, had.
Yeah,
They've been
it's
moving away from that recently. A lot of the 2 costs have pretty high fielding costs these days.
to try and mitigate some of that really good effect of having just strong 2 cost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is probably only has the good fielding cost because it's the die from AVX when they hadn't quite gotten there yet.
Yeah.
Well, Laurier, and you get to both sum that card up, and you also get to give us, you're the very first person that gives us your number 1 pick, and you got to justify why it's number 1, because we have seen this card before.
Yeah, it is Kree Captain Lost Purpose. Now, we've discussed this card before. I just want to mention that discount is going to change how people play and how people evaluate their roles a lot. If you roll your dice and you're like, okay, I have 1 fist, I have a mask, and I have 2 other energy. Do I try to reroll to try to get that second fist and be able to buy my collector on turn 1? This kind of decision making is going to lead to some gambles. It's going to lead to people wanting to decide: do I want to try to jump the gun, or do I just try to be more conservative with my rolls? It is going to be very interesting to see how strategies and how just overall risk evaluation evolves in this game based on that global. And also, I just want to mention one thing that people should remember. With this and Ring of Winter, you can now get Fix-It on turn 1.
Ew.
I was just thinking, we talked about earlier about Ring of Winter only worked on 6 costs, but not 5 costs. I might start buying Bishop more often with this global.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
absolutely.
worth considering putting him back because he's now maybe not as slow as he was before, or he's definitely
Yeah.
not as slow as but maybe he's fast enough to get to now that he's worth something because he's got huge fielding or huge defensive stats to keep him in the field.
That might bring him more into the meta than ever before, and that's going to be gross.
Yeah, turn
Yeah.
4 bishop. Turn 2 bishop
Yeah.
Yeah.
without messing up your ramp is pretty.
And there's always going to be that perfect game where they only have direct damage, and that turn 2 Bishop just completely wins you the game right off the bat.
Locks it down. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Well, I mean, against Yonti, when I ran in Nationals, my Shriekless team, having Bishop and Sunfire as an Attune lockdown, when it fired off for the first couple of games, it was crazy how effective it was. When Attune gets locked down, they get bogged down like crazy.
Yeah, that's true. I could see that happening.
But yeah, so that Kree Captain, and of course the character's just going to be, again, another example of another really aggressive card.
And it's worth-
Set,
Go ahead.
This set, it really looks like they've designed it to swing the meta towards aggro much more aggressively.
It's worth noting that this global is on one of the other versions of the Kree Captain, or maybe both. Maybe it's on all
I think
three.
it's all three.
It's on
Yeah.
all three versions of the Kree Captain, but we've all picked this one, the ones that the people who have picked this, because this card has both the Insane Global and the Insane ability on it. So worth noting that it does exist in other places, but I think because of the power creep of this card, you're always playing this version because it does have some semblance of upside outside of that, even if you're running just one streak.
So
Yeah,
I mean-
the biggest testament to how good that ability is I picked that one over the one with Swarm. So
Well, that
But
three
it's
costs.
3-cost Swarm with the captain.
Yeah, if the 3 had been on the 2 cost, with
Then
this
we'd be
global,
talking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you've done then.
Yeah. Pick that one. That's the answer. Zach, you get to give us your next top, your top pick next.
All right. This is probably not like a number one meta pick or anything, but I'm definitely excited to play around with it. And it is Meteorite Dr. Carla Sofin. It's a flip card. I love flip cards. I like the Batman set. I like the flip mechanic. When fielded, your character dice get +1 attack. Same ability that the Black Widow has. We already like that ability. It's good for aggro. And on the other side, and you can flip it whenever you want. It's not contingent on anything. Your opponent cannot attack with more than 2 character dice. We've been talking a ton today about all the aggro stuff that's out there and how aggro is going to be a thing again. This kind of helps you shut that right down. Just you can't attack with more than 2 character dice total. I think it'd be interesting to try it out in a Golden Age format and see how
Yeah.
it stacks up against something like Bard, especially because it has 0/1/2 fielding cost. So it's not that easy to imprison out, especially if at level 3, because they'd have to spend their entire imprison to pick it up, basically. Obviously they'd have to because they wouldn't be able to get enough damage through otherwise. I really like to see how that ability works out in a real game.
Yeah, I would too.
It's interesting.
I think that's a sneaky good control piece.
I'm
Yeah.
interested to see how it does against like a team up team or a sidekick rush
Oh
team.
dear.
I mean, it does
just had a
great
thought.
things. You leave this and you have 2 other blockers to block those 2 single character dice so that you don't have any of that damage sneaking through, and you just set up whatever you want and just kind of win.
Cosmo. Just put Cosmo on the team.
Yeah, you could make that one of the blockers and the other one goes through, right?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, someone mentioned Bard, and it made me notice something. With the Kree Captain Global, you can now, going first, buy Bard on turn 1.
No, stop. Get no. We're moving.
Why would
No.
you say that on the stream?
What?
We're moving on.
God.
I get to say my
You
number
on the
1
feedback.
pick now.
I just worry the Meteorite I think is a good card. I don't know, like you said, how much meta plays that. The first ability is pretty good as well, +1 on
Yeah.
all your character dice. But we'll see that later. But
If you wish it had the same thing of the other 2 ones that were when fielded or when you flip it while active, that would be really powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, I just worry about the level 1, level 2 defensive costs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like with all the Thunderbolts, you want to get them up to level 3, right? So they're unblockable with that Mac 1.
Yep.
Indeed. All right, my turn. I'm excited for this card. I'm excited to open this and then just dig around and find this card and then just start messing with it because I think it in and of itself can act as a win condition, and it's a 2-drop. It's Avengers ID card, making it official. And I think only Chris and I did this. Were we the only 2 people that this snuck into our top 5?
Great
Is that
minds
right?
think alike.
Maybe
I
that,
thought
and so
you
do
didn't pick
ours, and so do ours. Well, the reason I like this one is because, well, obviously you're getting this insane value for a 2-drop. It stacks. You could possibly prep a die like 1 out of every 3 times you roll this, even if it, is used for like no effect. It just boom, there it is. Like you prep a die. I paid 2 to prep a die. That's cool. And then on top of all of that, you can just pay a mask to make something in the field an Avenger, so it has built-in synergy. Are you kidding me? Like, this is perfect for my number 2 pick, obviously, already. You're running this card, which is a 2-drop mask with a 2-drop fist Black Widow that buffs everything +1 attack already. Then you run multiples of these, and you run like, I don't know, Batiri Battle Stack, which is another 2-drop that buffs itself based on how many are out there. You make each of those Avengers, you play this, it just gets insane in my head. And for that reason, I just want to make things huge and then just throw them at my opponent using Avengers ID card. Like,
yeah, it's super strong. If I was making a top 5 of best cards, this probably would make it on there as well. It's pretty broken.
Like, what else could you put? You could put this on a ton of stuff, and then it's just a little
Well,
extra
the low-hanging
bonus.
fruit is Nick Fury patch, right? From
Yeah.
Oh yeah, if you go Golden Age, this gets even more broken. Like this
gets
becomes
horrendous.
like cube levels of craziness. It's just turned from direct damage to like it could just go on anything and make things really strong.
Well, there's a bunch of stuff where you get stuff for fielding Avengers as well, and this one is the first global where you can make something a different affiliation in your reserve before you even field it, right?
Yeah.
Which is really interesting.
Yeah.
That's true. It does. Yeah, you can pop it on something, field it, and trigger that Avengers affiliation trigger, which is cool.
Yeah, and +2 has always been strong. I mean, the Odin's Fury in draft is pretty great. The +2, +1
+2/+1. Yeah.
is a pretty great
And-
card to get, right?
Getting an extra defense buff. I mean, that was like, you know, Guy Gardner was strong. He got a plus attack, but the thing that made Bard so annoying was that the characters got defensive buffs as well, and so that
Yeah.
it became really difficult to ping off. And
Same
that was one of
thing
the
here.
reasons why Team Up was so strong as well, because it also gave the defense. Like, if it was just +2 attack, it would be a really playable, really good card.
Mhm.
But the fact that you're making all your like Ant-Man have, you know, 4 defense instead of 2, that's also really, really powerful.
Yeah, WizKids needs to really stop giving defensive buffs so
That's
easily.
totally.
On a
Like, really,
2-drop.
That Wasp too. Also
On
gets
a
defensive buff
2-drop.
In addition to her attack buff.
It's crazy. It's awesome. I love it. It's my number one pick, and people may end up hating it very, very soon, just because it can do so many things. But it's very much like Cube because it can go on a lot of different teams because it has a self trigger, and
Yeah.
that was sort of like Cube where you get thrown on a lot of things because there's a lot of things that do like 1 ping damage that all of a sudden now do 3. So it makes things interesting. Maybe it makes things broken, but maybe it doesn't, and maybe we're all happy. I don't know.
Well, yeah, I mean,
One of the biggest bummers is I was going on Chris and Rob's stream and I was looking up ways to use the global on this. I didn't catch the fact that you had to target your own characters, and there are lots of ways you could break the game if you could make your opponent's characters Avengers at will. And I had all these cool combos worked out, and then on stream I realized you have to target your own.
hey, with that the Loki I mentioned, you can give them an Avenger.
Oh yeah, you
Just
can do
saying.
that.
Just
That's
saying.
true. You could. Yeah.
There's
Someone
like a
mentioned
Scarlet
in
Witch that
chat.
gets all Avengers like -2, -3 or something. That would have been amazing, but
Oh yeah, from Deadpool, right?
it's the OP. No, it's the OP.
Oh.
Oh yeah, that
it's
was
too expensive, but if you could use it to clear out your opponent's field every turn, it'd be amazing.
Yeah, that's
that'd be
true.
pretty fun.
Someone mentioned in chat that you could slap this on a common Yanti Pureblood team. This plays really well with like Boom Boom Yanti as well because it's a
Oh,
buff and it makes it unblockable. Yeah, so that's pretty
Yeah,
gross
yeah.
as well. So a lot of good things you can do with this. Let's move on to Truby's though, because Truby's got an interesting number 1 pick.
Yeah, so for me, I had to go with still some Swarm here, and I specifically do like the Kree Soldier protecting the Seed of Hala because it has Swarm and Infiltrate. So as we were talking about with Black Widow, she has that now that brings back the Taunt Global. Well, with this, that's one of the worst things that happen to Swarm. If they're just making your stuff attack, you can't get your Swarm triggers. Well, with Infiltrate, they force it to attack. If they don't block, they go, okay, I'll infiltrate. You still take a point of damage. I get my Swarmer back. I still get my trigger.
Or you choose to cycle it too.
Or
Yeah.
potentially, yeah. It plays that game where, even if you get multiple of them out, where they sort of have to choose, do they want to give you that ramp? Or, do you want that ramp? It can play head games with your opponent a little bit. I think.
I'm surprised this isn't on more people's lists.
Yeah,
It's cool. It's really cool.
Fun.
But
And it's a
we'll-
villain.
I really struggled not putting this on my top 5. I really like this card as well.
Me
Yeah.
too. It's a villain. It's so awesome.
It doesn't
Yeah.
fit into my playstyle. That's why I didn't put it on there. But man, it's a super great card.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I
If it
like the
weren't
Blue Angels one better.
If it weren't for the fact that Arnim Zola has such good defense, Kree Soldier would be my pick over Arnim Zola every time as a 2-cost in the villain team.
Why not both?
I also like the one that your characters of purchase cost 3 or less are free to field. Because, like we said, a lot of the new cheap characters have high fielding costs.
Yeah,
Sure.
all these Kree soldiers are really good. The one where if it damages your opponent, you prep a die from your bag as well.
Yeah, that one's really cool too.
Yeah.
This
I don't
card
know.
is
Maybe
sick.
the 1/1 fielding cost is a little bit of a
Yeah, the
issue.
1/1 or the 1/2. You mean?
0/1/1.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about
One
the level 2 stats for some reason.
The level 2 fielding cost in particular.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
They're
no,
definitely all really conducive to a nice aggro playstyle, though. So.
Swarm and Infiltrator are two of the best keywords in the game, and this is on one card. How often do you see two great keywords on one card?
On a 2-cost.
Exactly.
And it's a 2-cost, and it's a villain, and it's a Kree, so you can KO them with that Supreme Intelligence.
Mhm.
Yeah, Truby's
Yeah.
top 3 picks all work together very nicely.
Yeah, they do.
True
I wonder what he's
team.
going to be doing soon.
I'm all about this Kree invasion team pack. I'm
It is so cool.
gonna crack that thing open and use it at our Shield event probably, and yeah.
And then
That's-
the Atlas, where you can prep a die with fists. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
One thing I want to mention
Roger.
is that this is probably the second character that I would really want 4 dice for.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. This is,
Agreed.
of all the team packs, this is the only one I'm right from the start definitely buying 2 of.
Oh, we'll
Yeah,
we'll talk about that at the end after we wrap up everyone's top picks. Let's jump over to Ben's top pick. Actually, you know what? We can skip his because we all know it. Chris, what's your? We'll do it for Ben. Why don't you just lay it on us first? We'll go through it.
It's the best unblockable card ever created. It's Ant-Man Petty Theft. Come at me, bro. Best unblockable card ever in the game, ever.
But
Name
I'm
a
not
better
with
one.
you on that one.
can we argue
Can't
against
name.
that? I don't even think we can.
You cannot. And how good is unblockable?
Down on purchase cost or stats.
Namor.
5.
Namor.
3-drop,
It's
5/2
4 for the same
unblockable.
attack.
This is a 3-drop and it's an Avenger and another
Like, you need
synergistic
to
affiliation.
You need to put this card, Giganta, as your 2, and you can win the game on turn 4, just with those 2.
But Kate Bishop stops it.
That's true. But
Bishop
Kate Bishop
stops
stops a lot of things.
That's why we hate
Like
that.
those 2 cards by themselves, forget ramp. Well, you just have 6 cards worth of ramp, right? And then you win on turn 4. Just ramp them through. They're level 3 each time. You win. Turn 4, easy.
Easiest game ever. Easy game.
Seriously, you buy both. You buy 1 on turn 1, 1 on turn 2. Prep them. Turn 3, field them both. Attack through for 10. That's crazy. That's mental.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, if they don't have Magic Missile or Kate Bishop, then what do they do about it?
Exactly. They have to play around this card, which is why
Yeah.
it's so powerful.
Unblockable is my favorite thing. Smacking people in the face is my favorite thing. And this is the both things.
Apparently, we're just all a bunch of Timmies today.
Yeah. There you go.
Well,
There you go.
you know what? I think that this entire meta versus Kate Bishop thing is going to lead to a lot more nefarious broadcasts showing up in teams.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and that's one of my favorite actions as well.
Especially with Atlas freeing up a basic action slot for a lot of teams.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
With them reprinting all these old globals, we just need to see that Doom Caliber Knight global back, and we'll be back in business.
Oh no, please no.
Also, maybe that what's the Wonder Woman? That Wonder Woman might be a thing now. The one that no one plays.
The one that Ambassador of Peace.
The one they can't use globals on their character cards, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They couldn't use Giganta.
Yeah.
They couldn't use Kate
Your own
Bishop.
Giganta or anything.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Meta brewing for this meta is going to be so weird.
Yeah, it's going to be
I'm just gonna
different,
focus on
and that's the point. That's the good thing. Chris,
Yeah,
before we go too far on talking about the meta, let's hit your last one.
Okay. I picked Black Widow, the Widow's Bite. When I was thinking about the top 5, she had to be it because when I was trying to brew around her, I was thinking of like shenanigan stuff like fabricate, then momentums to refield and get things ridiculously huge and win on a crazy turn when your opponent most likely won't have anything to block with. And that's really why I think she could be crazy, because there's shenanigans to be had with her played right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or Adam Warlock.
There's loads of ways to build around this card. And that +1, giving your whole board +1 attack is just crazy.
Yeah.
And you can do it multiple times. I didn't want to put her or Ant-Man on my top 5 because I was like, everyone else is going to have them. We can talk about them. But then they're just both so good.
Yeah,
And this one is,
it's a solid one.
Absolutely.
And
So-
I really like the artwork as well. I don't care what you guys say. The artwork's cool.
I think
Looks
it's
like they gave up halfway through the drawing of the face.
It's cool.
I think it's
Mysterious.
cool.
Yeah,
Oh,
people were
dear.
saying they don't like it. And Iron Man
really?
was cool.
Huh. Well, I'm into it, but whatever. Nevertheless, so that sums up our top 5 picks. Each of us were. I don't know about you guys, but I am super pumped for all of these cards to release. We're very excited. to get to sit down and play some new stuff. It's been a while, as we can all attest to, and I know I'm more than ready to bust out some new stuff and check it out and try things and see how everything shifts, because I think this game is awesome and I love playing it. What do you guys think about the coming meta? Let's do a quick talk. One talking point each. Laurier, what do you think?
Okay, I already mentioned these points here and there, but this is really going to be much more of an aggro meta for the next, until Warhammer comes out. It's going to be very global dependent, a lot more than before. So you may actually see global hate make a lot more appearances. So be prepared for that, because if you start to rely on all these cool new globals for your strategy, well, if a Wrecker or a Wonder Woman shows up, you are going to have to be really, really, really careful.
That's a good point.
You need to have you need to have a method of removal that will not be global based in order to deal with that potentially.
That's a good point. Zach, what are you thinking?
I agree. I mean, I think there's, we had a lot of control cards come out in a row around like X-Men First Class and stuff, and so the game kind of all became a lot more control-y around that time. I think Laurier is right. We're going to get a lot more aggro stuff just because the cards are there, and people probably are kind of been waiting for a lot of aggro players been waiting for something like this. I feel like we've talked about all the good counterplay and stuff, and I think about this time last year when Guardians was coming out and stuff, that was kind of one of my favorite moments in the game when it felt like everything had potential, and I kind of feel that way again.
I agree. Yeah, I definitely agree. Going off of so I 100% agree with you. I think this set, this Avengers Infinity set, plus a little bit of the Batman stuff, which we haven't talked about, the Harley Quinn team pack, but I think all of this marks a really good shift in the meta. I think we have possible teams out there that really do compete well with, or compete at the very least with the Yuan-Ti Pureblood powerhouse, especially if piloted well, as we can attest with Ben, right, Ben? But I think this makes it even more interesting, and stuff like this Black Widow turns everything on its head in a lot of ways, and I think that's really fresh and needed for the game. What do you think, Truby?
My thoughts, actually, I'm not thinking about national meta at all. My big excitement is the fact that I can now just point to this product and be like, oh, you want to get into the game? Well, here, buy the Avengers Infinity box. You're good to go. That's really my concern. I want this game to be easier for people to get into, because I have two guys who've been messaging me who want to get in, but they're like, well, what do I buy? I'm like, well, get this starter, but then try to get stuff from this set, and then maybe some from this set. This gives us a nice, concise, if you like Guardians of the Galaxy, get the Kree Invasion set, or Kree Invasion team pack, and the Avengers Infinity team pack,
If I want this power card, then I have to just go pick that box up and bring it to the guy, and he scans it, and I have it.
But it's not even about that, right? It's about there are so many low-cost cards with useful abilities, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in this set, definitely.
Players.
Yeah.
Yep.
Even some ones we haven't talked about.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun stuff to play with. It's going to be pretty easy to build with. Wait a month or two or whatever, we're going to have even more stuff coming in, and it's also the fact that they're not going to have to hunt for everyone's playing this super rare. Well, they don't have to hunt for that anymore. It's all easy to get. So that's really where all my thinking is. I'm not even giving a damn about the national meta right now. I just care about players in my store. That's what I want. That's all I care about. So
that's good. Ben, what do you think?
These are really great products. There's there's a bunch of new teams that can be possible, right? There's Thunderbolts, there's Avengers, and there's more villains, and there's Fists as well, right? And even maybe Bolts. Yeah, Guardians are okay. But those 5, maybe 6 with the Guardians are all new, and they're all thematic, right? You can do a Fist Night, or you can do that sounds weird. Bolt Knight. I am so sorry.
Let's not do that one. Well, two people just stopped watching the moment you said that. They straight up just left.
Oh my days. Anyway,
you'll be edited that in post, right?
No, I'm leaving that in. We can all enjoy that one.
But that's what you want from new sets, right? You want these cards are really broken, but also they're really fun because you can do them in a theme night, and that's cool.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
well designed. Is my thought. Chris, final thought.
With the new sets coming out and probably more players, I want the community to stay as cool as it is, where we're welcoming to everyone, and I just can't wait to see more people playing online, and I just hope the community stays as cool as it is for the most part. There are
Yeah.
a few people that are a little bit angry about some things, but for the most part, I think our community is really great, and I can't wait to see what the community comes up with for the different combos and cards and everything like that.
Definitely. So just so that you guys know, as well as the viewers, check this out. These are so viewers, we compiled top 10, and then we just talked today about the top 5. But if you're curious about what showed up most frequently within our top 10s, this card, Kree Captain, the one we've been talking about a lot, showed up as the number 1 card. Well, actually tied for first place alongside the Avengers ID card. So both of those cards showed up on 4 lists. And then the followed right behind that, or right under that, on 3 lists, the Black Widow as well as the Ant-Man. So those are sort of the top 4 most voted on cards from us. Do you guys agree with that in chat? Let us know, or in comments if you're watching this after the fact. Those are the cards that if you made everything in aggregate form and combined it all, those are the top 4 cards that we are most excited for, or most compelled by from this set. So I think that's a really interesting thing. I don't know if you guys have any takeaways based on those 4, but it's pretty obvious in my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty straight. Pretty cool cards all around. Pretty cool cards. I think, this is the last thing I wanted to do. Let me go through one more time and ask you what you will be buying 2 of or 1 of. Laurier, what will you be buying 1 or 2 of?
I'm gonna buy 1 Avengers Infinity campaign box. I'm gonna be buying 2 of each of the 2 team packs. So
Okay.
For that's and as well as 1 copy of Harley Quinn, obviously. But anyway, so I'm going for 2 of each team pack.
Cool.
Because for Kree Invasion, there's Swarm, there's Fabricate, there's good low-cost characters.
Yep.
That's really good to have 2 copies of. For Justice Like Lightning, there's lots of things I would want to run and genuinely use 3 of in a team. And so in that context, being stuck to 2 dice for a lot of these guys, it would bug me. And the Ant-Man, you want 4 of.
Mm-hmm. Zach, what about you?
I'm probably just going to buy 1 of everything and then look for dice singles on Cool Stuff Inc. Because if you can do it
That's a good
early,
idea.
like the day that it comes out, I might be able to pick up just the specific dice that I want 4 of for less than having to buy a whole other set.
That's a good idea. I will be buying 2 of the Kree Invasion team pack. I'll be buying, on initial release, 1 of the Justice Like Lightning. I'm going to see if I can find someone to go halvesies on a box and pick up 2 Avengers Infinity boxes for the express reason of having extra cards with which to set up cube drafts. Because I think this would be a really interesting set to try cube drafts with. So I kind of want to pick up those. And then I'll probably end up at some point, if cube drafting works okay, I'll probably pick up a second Justice Like Lightning team pack somewhere down the line. Or like you said, if you could just pick up singles, then maybe I'd do that and pick up singles of cards or dice that I like.
It worked out for the Iron Man War Machine starter. I picked up all the singles there.
Wow. That's interesting. Truby, what about you?
Yeah, I'll just be buying 2 of the Invasion team pack and then 1 of everything else because I'm not 100% sure how much I'm going to play the other stuff. I'm definitely going to, but I just don't know if I'm going to be using like that Ant-Man much, or also me and my wife, Melissa, we both are playing this stuff. So see what she wants, wait and see, give the other players a chance to buy stuff too. So I'm not buying up all the product.
Sure.
But yeah, just for now, just the 2 Kree Invasion and 1 of everything else.
Cool. Ben, what about you?
Buying 3 of everything.
3. Wow. He's all in.
Yep.
He's all
Money
in.
stacks over here.
Dude, he's rich.
bowl.
I mean, that's what happens when you're an intercontinental champion, I guess.
Yeah, you
just-
got to keep up.
endorsements.
Also, you just buy products so no one else can have it, and then if you're the only person playing the game, you win. Right?
that's
You're gonna
that's
play
the key
drafting
right
before,
there.
Now try buying all the team packs.
That's the
No, but
key.
for reals, I'm just buying one of each. I maybe the Kree invasion. I don't really care about that stuff too much. I think I'm a bit down on it compared to the rest of you guys. So I'm only buying one of each.
There
I
you
like
go.
to call Ben the alley cat of the Dice Masters online community. He just goes and hangs out with everyone.
Oh, thanks. I'll take that as a compliment.
Good. Chris, what about you?
Me and Rob have plans, and along with Joe, to have our max dice for the campaign box, and I have a gift card to buy two of the other things. So I'm actually going to have max dice of everything.
Solid.
Nice.
Man, you get it that way. That's a good way to do it. Look at you having friends.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's where I'm missing out on. Yeah.
You gotta have two friends. That's the problem.
Yeah, if you lived
That's
down
right.
there,
Dang it,
Ben,
two
you would be able
friends.
to chip in with us.
I know.
Move to Texas. There you go. That's your answer right there. Well, I want to
It's
thank
saving me some money.
I want to thank each and every one of you for coming and hanging out with me, and everybody that watched. We had a good amount of people watching and hanging out and talking in chat. So thank you everybody for hanging out. I hope you guys are excited for the release of this on Wednesday. So Laurier, thank you, man.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. It was a lot of fun. So
And if you want
I
to check
better-
out his stuff, you could check it out at DM North. Check him out.
yeah, which
He's
is
got some really awesome-
www.dm-north.com. And
Yes,
it's
because
not just
if-
me writing there,
If you
it's
like,
also
if you search it and you don't put if you just do DM North, it finds weird pipeline stuff. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah.
It just finds really strange stuff.
yeah. So again, www.dm-north.com. And yeah, it's not just me; it's Matt Jourdain, who's in chat actually, as well as Gordon, who is another player that's over in Calgary along with Matt. So we're the three people that write there, and so yeah, come and check us out. We do every week. The three of us each do an article discussing a team that we've played that week, and we always try to switch it up, and so it's always a lot of fun.
Definitely.
Really good articles on that website, by the way. I
Yes,
highly recommend
they're really, really good. I love it. It's awesome. Zach, thank you for coming out, man.
it. Hey, thanks for having me, man.
And we can check
out
Zach
Dice
out.
Matches with James and Zach here on YouTube. We make more videos than Steven, but worse videos than Steven. So
You make a lot more
in
videos
between
than
Steven
me.
releases them. Feel free to come over and check out our channel.
Dude, they have got some awesome stuff. I wish I had the setup that you guys had for those recordings. I need to hang a webcam from my ceiling with a nice spotlight as well. Those things are sick.
There you go. We've been
It's
trying
awesome.
a couple of videos recently where we're trying out Nationals teams as if Cube was not banned, but Yowski
Oh, yeah,
was.
that's
So
awesome.
The second version of that is coming out in a couple of days, so look out for that.
Definitely. Truby, thank you for hanging out with us, man.
Oh, thank you for having me. And of course, yeah, my plugs. I'm working with the Dice Coalition, so dicecoalition.com. That's where the team builder is, my draft pack stuff, my online draft tool. And also, I do the videos for my local game store, Four Horsemen Comics, Four Horsemen Comics and Gaming. You can find me on YouTube with their channel. Just doing more Dice Masters content there. So
Yeah, that's awesome. And dude, we can't say enough about the awesome things you do with the draft pack generator and the what's it called? The community card thing. I can't remember the name of it. It's right there in front of my eyes. What is that thing called?
the card generator.
Yeah, just the whole archive that you have on the Dice Coalitions is absolutely amazing. So thank you so much for all those things that you do.
Oh,
Yeah, seriously, too.
Well, it's a team effort. I only did the draft pack stuff, and I have for the team builder now. Yeah, we're building off of work that other great people have done before us, and now it's me and Pink Frankenstein, Johnny doing all the work on that, and yeah, just trying to keep up with it.
Well, that's awesome, and it's super important for the community, I think. So thank you very much.
And you just updated the draft pack generator, correct?
Yes, yeah. Now instead of the first Thor draft you guys did, you had to do all the manipulating of the Google spreadsheet, putting teams in, passing stuff back and forth. But now there's actual rooms, so you can fire off a draft room and I'll actually automatically pass cards back and forth, and it's a lot smoother to use. The only bad thing is I'm using a freeware chat application, sort of as the background stuff. So so far it's not been a big deal, but it can only support like 20 people drafting at the same time.
Well, it's still so awesome that you've
Yeah.
made that. So yeah, major props to what you're doing over there.
Only
Something we
20.
never had before with all the new sets on the team builder before they even come out.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah, we
Seriously.
actually already have most of the 40K stuff ready to go
That's
as well.
so cool.
So.
Nice.
And with this, as soon as I get these, as soon as I pull these from the store, I'm going to be coming home and firing up the scanner to get the couple things we don't have scanned yet. So
Please do, because these card images that I've sort of salvaged and cut together and Frankensteined up are not the best. I've done what I could, but man, some nice high quality scans would be really appreciated.
Yeah, they'll be in the team builder almost immediately. So
Nice.
Awesome.
as quick as we can get them scanned and uploaded. So.
Ben, I'm giving a special thank you to you because you've been hanging out with me a couple of times now and talking about these cards. So thank you so much for coming to this one and for the last one you came and talked about with me. It's been really fun.
Yeah, I just like to plug everyone else's stuff because it's already cool and I have nothing to contribute. So
You just win. He just hangs out with everybody and wins. Those are the two things he does.
pretty
Your
much
kind of
my
fans
thing.
just hang out in the Dice Coalition public rooms, and he's probably there anytime. Chill, pretty late at night.
But also do the quiz because do Zach's quiz.
Oh yeah, trivia challenge.
Oh,
Going
there
on
you
right
go.
now.
Yeah, that's right.
Trivia challenge.
Week 4.
I haven't done that. If you haven't heard the Ministry of Dice thing for me, yeah, there's a reason I don't do it because I'm terrible at remembering anything.
That's
I got
awesome.
turned off by the subtitles. Once I was like, gotta do
Oh.
subtitles. Oh, I'm done.
Those were so
Truly,
tough.
let me just tell you something. The new one is the new one is even worse.
The new one is the hardest for sure.
Oh man, I haven't even looked at it yet. Oof. Well, Chris, you're the last one to thank. Thank you, sir, for coming out and talking with us and for all the things that you do over on your channel.
Oh, thanks. It's Chris and Rob Game Room. Ben's part of that too for the most part. And also Dice Coalition, we're kind of doing tournament stuff with them and everything like that. And we have a lot of people in the community working with us to do any kind of basically tournaments. And we're trying to really just make sure everyone has some fun stuff to do and hang around and just enjoy, basically.
Yeah. Man, this community, people are saying it in chat too, but this community is awesome. And I'm so glad to hang out with you guys and be a part of it because it's really cool to have a game that I think we all can say that we really enjoy playing, but it's made better by the fact that it's played by really fun to be around people. So huge shout out to the chat and to like everybody that plays this game because it's pretty awesome. And I think I can say that is a wrap. So thanks everyone for coming out and hanging out and talking about your cards. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If anyone was watching at home, and we're going to go ahead and call it. So thanks everybody for hanging out, and I hope you guys have a good one. See you next time.
Thanks, everyone.
Say bye.
night,
Bye.
everybody.
Goodbye. Have a good evening. Sorry if it's 11:41.
Hey,
See
yeah, you better be sorry.
later.
I've got to get up in 6 hours.
See you later.
Yeah, time to go to bed.
Bye.
All right. I'm calling it a night. Good night, guys.
Good night. See you later.